Nobody likes emergencies. I don't know one person that is going to act normal during an emergency, but they do happen. And when they happen, you better be ready. So I'm going to discuss bug out bags, also known as Bob. It's a portable emergency survival kit designed to sustain an individual for at least 72 hours during a sudden evacuation due to a natural disaster or a fire, a flood, earthquake, or any other emergency. Bug-out bags are also known by other names such as go bags, grab bags, 72-hour bags, or bailout bags, and are typically stored to easily access so that you can escape from wherever you're at and sustain yourself until the coast is clear. I made one in caregiving for my mom, and also a little bit of stuff for myself because I was concerned about my mom's well-being. I made sure that I had a bug-out bag for her. You might want to consider that for yourself as well. Check it out in our next video. We're chatting it up with CJ. Hi, and thanks for joining me on Chatting It Up with CJ. I want to welcome you. I know you have a choice in where you want to spend your time, and I thank you very much for spending your time with me. I'm going to be hitting up a subject that's going to be a little bit different. Maybe something that you've thought about, and maybe something you haven't. Hopefully it'll be new information for you. But when I was taking care of my mom, and I was a caregiver of her, she had mild cognitive impairment. That's what I called it. The doctor called it dementia. But you know, you're going to know your loved one best. That's something that you have to think on your own. What is it exactly that you're dealing with? Well, I knew that when I had to move in to be with my mom and take care of her, I had to consider all scenarios. And the way her house was situated, she was actually in a bedroom behind me. There was only one way in and one way out. I knew that if anything had gone down, that would have been bad. They'd have to go past the room that I was staying in first, and then move down the hall and get to my mom's bedroom. My mom was bedridden. Because she was bedridden, I had to think twice about what I was going to do and how I was going to do it. What I mean by that is, I was not only her caregiver, but when you really think about it, I was her protector as well. I had to make sure that whatever it was that may have occurred or may be occurring or is the possibility of occurring, I had to plan ahead of time a plan of action. Now, in my past videos, I kind of tongue-in-cheeked it and laughed about how I told my dad, you know, maybe I should get a slingshot. And he said, yeah, you know, get some marbles. They work really well. And I'm like, they're too pretty to shoot. But you know what? Deep down inside, I was like, I needed a form of protection for my mom. And at that time, I went down to a sportsman's warehouse, you know, places that had self-defense. And they told me, if you're going to get anything that's really simplistic, try something like mace. I thought, okay, but then it's just the whole thought that the person's going to be in front of you. You have so many feet before you can do something. You spray the pepper spray. Yeah. And I'm like, why not? They said, if there's a draft of any sort and you spray the pepper spray, it literally can go back in your face if there's any type of draft. I went, okay, that's why I'm talking to you, because I didn't think about that. But now I'm talking to you, and I'm saying, don't do that. They actually sell pepper gel. Pepper gel. Who would ever think that that's, well, people that do hunting or people that do any type of outdoorsy stuff that deal with bears, it's intended to keep the bears at bay. And they shoot anywhere from 25 to 30 feet. Plus, if there is a draft of any kind, it won't ever spray back into your face. It literally hits a target and sticks on it. Who knew? Not me. I didn't know. But it's not like I go out in the woods and needing it. You know, I live in a city. I live in a very populated area. I'm not in the woodland areas to know that there's a bear around the corner or something. However, because I live in a city and I live in a populated area, we have other types of bears. We have criminals who don't like to do nice things to other human beings. With that being said, I thought this might be the answer. So they do. They have pepper gel. Again, it's going to be perfect so you don't have it spray back in your face. It was quite an education for me. So not only did I have my slingshot with my pretty marbles, I also now had bear spray or bear gel. I didn't mean to say spray. Well, I guess it is a spray. It's just a spraying of gel. All right. So then the other thing is, too, I thought they need to get past me to get down the hall to get to my mom. And I thought to myself, even in the case if it wasn't of a perpetrator of any sort, I always kept myself prepared for the worst. My mom was bedridden, and I thought by that time my adrenaline's going to be roaring. Who knows what'll, my goal was to keep my mom safe. So in the event of, let's say, a fire, or where my mom lived was a very high fire prone area. So it wasn't uncommon to have wildfires. What if I needed to pick my mom up? I could easily, by the basis of adrenaline, sling her over my shoulder and move her out of the house. I wouldn't go, if there was something that was happening in the front of the house where the kitchen was, I would have to sling her on my back, open up the side door where there's a wheelchair ramp, and move her out that part of the house. But that primarily was always locked, so I didn't have to worry about anything coming in through that door, but I certainly could go out of that door with a wheelchair and get my mom to safety if there was something happening on the other side of the house. These are all game plans that I had to think about as a caregiver to take care of my mom. Now, there is something that I had to think about also in the event of that. And I'm going to explain to you how I came up with this. It's actually a bug out bag. Have you heard of that phrase before? Bug out bag. And let me tell you what a bug out bag was, because when I first learned about it, I'm like, what the heck is that? Basically, the term bug out is in context of a bug out bag, referring to the act of quickly evacuating from a dangerous or emergency situation. Okay, that applies to everybody, but it was actually a military term that was used for the military if they needed to retreat from where they were at because of imminent danger. Well, I'm thinking as a caregiver, what do I do with my mom? Well, basically, this is what it is. A bug out bag is a portable survival kit packed with essential supplies to support an individual or family for at least 72 hours during such an evacuation. Its a primary purpose to enable a rapid departure from a hazardous area and provide short-term survival needs while traveling to a more secure destination. Well, that applies to everybody now, doesn't it? And since it's applying to everyone, and since I'm responsible for my mom and her well-being, I thought I need to make a bug out bag just for her. So what did I do? I made a list of the things that I would need. Ironically, the bag that I had put together was a duffel bag. I got 2 weeks worth of bathing wipes, incontinent booster pads, adjustable briefs, aka diapers, underpads, that we call them chucks in the hospital, things that she lays on, maybe puppy pee pads, that's another way of knowing it, pull-up briefs, kind of like, well, they're briefs. They're like the pens. Not only that, I also packed an extra blood pressure cuff. She was constantly taking her blood pressure, or I was taking it for her. So I had an extra one. I packed that in the bug out bag. Tennis shoes and socks. Who knows what I'm taking her out of, what situation, but I got to make sure that her feet are protected. So tennis shoes and socks were packed away as well. Booties. Gloves. For me. She ain't going to use it, but I'll tell you what, if I'm going to be changing a diaper or do something that has to do with incontinence, it's not going to be with my hands. So I'm going to put gloves in there. Nordic cream. I'm going to put a barrier cream in there as well. Moisturizing cream. Incontinence spray and wash. I'm going to put a brand new t-shirt in there. It doesn't have to be brand new. I'm just saying clean. A house coat, maybe a dress, some sweatpants, a blanket. In other words, a change of clothes so that if something happens and it gets soiled, that she's not left there with, oh, well, you're going to have to sit in your dirty clothes. You got to think of it this way. It's like having an adult diaper bag, an adult set of clothing and incontinence supplies, no different than what you would pack if you had a newborn baby. You need all your supplies with you because you just don't know what you're going to be dealing with. Not only that, mom, because when she would eat, would tend to spill on herself. Well, you certainly, when you're limited with clothing, you don't want to sit there and get something soiled. So I got a neck clip, kind of like this chain, and it clipped around her and it tied onto her clothes. And I had an eating bib for my mom, which basically was a linen napkin. I had her oximeter that you put on her fingers so that if we could check her oxygen level, that's something that I packed away. A thermometer. Who knows what's going on? My mom was constantly having fevers. I have no idea why she had a fever, but that's something that I want to check. I got a pack of 25 count Scrubzzz. Yeah, it's rinse-free bath sponges. It's fabulous. You could use it. You could use it on your loved one. It's great for camping. You just put a little bit of water on these sponge things and they foam up, and you don't have to wipe it because what happens, it foams up on your skin, cleans everything, and then it kind of like evaporates. So it's excellent. People use it for camping. Why not use it for this? Toothpaste and a toothbrush. My mom had issues with her BMs. So stool softener. You could pack away, I don't know, a package of prunes, but stool softener is something that you might need. Which is another reason to make sure you have enough incontinence supplies. Don't get me started on the shit. You want to get a medical bag, all the medications and vitamins. You want to make sure that you have extra supply of that. Matter of fact, when you do your medications, have the medications already set aside and have it put in a separate bag. So when it is to the point that you need to disappear and grab everything, you can just grab that bag and bring it. Because you don't want to be with your parent or your loved one, whoever you're taking care of, without their medication. That's the last thing you need. So make sure you have a separate bag or your medication in a bag so that it's easily portable. You just have to remember to grab it. Not only that, the most important thing that you need to think of is a medical log. You need to have the medical log so that you have all the details about their medications, doctors' insurance papers, doctors' addresses and names and phone numbers, and copies of the power of attorney. Any type of document that would identify your mom, your dad, your loved one, whoever it is that you're taking care of, and you, so that you have some form of ID. Maybe you can't grab, in my case, my mom's purse, but at least I have the pertinent documents with me as well. All those things should be as a copy in a pamphlet, and that needs to go in the bug out bag. The bug out bag is basically going to be your stuff to take care of 2 weeks of you being out and about, staying safe, Who knows? Even in the case of a fire, I know it's going to be hard, but that bug out bag can already be pre-made. You just grab it and go. If something should happen, grab it and go. Some people have a bug out bag and they stick it in the trunk of their car. It's already there. You don't have to grab and go anywhere. Maybe just medications. But you should always have the copies and the change of clothing and all the things that they need in one spot. You don't have to think about it. It's one thing to take care of yourself, but it's another thing to take care of your loved one. So make sure that you have all the stuff together. And I'll make sure that I have a copy of my bug out list of what I did for my mom in the comments below so that you have something to refer back to. Make it like your own checkoff list. Everybody's going to be different. Everybody's bug out bag will be slightly different according to the needs of your loved one. This is just an example of what I did for my mom. Remember, continue to be blessed and always be good to yourself. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. See you later. Hi there. I just want to say thank you so much for those that have subscribed to this channel. And if you haven't, I want to thank you in advance for your support. Thanks for watching.